just give it a couple more minutes and then
we can start.
have to go. This makes it a different context presenting to everybody internal. But anyway.
Remember, Bruce, that this will be recorded and published, so
you
mightn't get it. If you don't get any customers now, they'll be,
but they'll look at it later on.
So I would suggest treating it as if you're customers.
Hey,
all right, you want to?
Yeah, should we start, Bruce?
Going, yep.
Hey everyone, my name is Nesson, and welcome to Bruce's presentation from Alpha Edge. Bruce will be presenting about the 7 aspects of construction that builders should look to master, that in turn will lead to more successful business. I'd like to now invite Bruce to present.
Thanks, Ness. Good afternoon, everybody. I guess what I wanted to talk to you this afternoon relates to some aspects of your business that I think you need to master. And I guess I'll take you through those. We won't have time to get into a lot of them in detail. So what I wanted to do, I guess, was expose you to these aspects this afternoon so that you can have a think about them, have a look at where you're at with your business, and then have a look at how you can take some of them on board and look at improving your business over time. That's just a little bit about myself. I won't sort of dwell on that, but basically I've been around the industry for quite a while, predominantly in the residential sector, but have worked in the commercial sector early in my career, and I've worked in a number of companies such as Lend-Lease, Fraser's Property, AV Jennings, and so on, as well as some smaller boutique builders. And I've been, I guess, at the forefront of some of the innovations in the industry in Australia. But I'm sure Lauren would be happy to provide a copy of this presentation to you if you email her. So the 7 aspects, and this is just a summary of the 7 aspects that I'll take you through. I wouldn't expect that anybody would have all of these set up from day one. This is about evolving your business and looking at, I guess, the priorities that you need to look at. But what I've found, I guess, over the years in consulting with businesses, as well as I said before, working with large corporates and smaller businesses, most businesses I find they're only at about 50% of what they should be. The very good ones are very good and the very bad ones are very bad. And so all of the different parts of the business, I guess, come down to these 7 parts. If you get all of these right, the rest of the business will tend to take care of itself. And so things like business principles, and you may say, well, I don't really need to worry about some of this stuff. Well, in reality, every business, particularly in the construction sector, every business does deal with each of these aspects. It's just a matter of how much you deal with them and how far you deal with them and how good you are at it. And in terms of your business principles, it's really about the owners and your staff being very clear about your overall vision and your culture, and that your business has some controls and it's being monitored in a certain way. So I'll go into all of these in a little bit more detail in a moment, but just from a high level perspective, the next one is that your market dominating position is defined, and that is, why will people buy from you? You have some unique features, and I guess it's understanding how you can stand out from the rest. The third part is your customer journey is defined and understood. I guess this is something that is probably a more recent aspect that the marketing teams deal with, but every business has a customer journey. Even buying a cup of coffee, there's a customer journey that you go on in terms of buying that cup of coffee. So having a look at your customer journey means that you start to focus on your customer, and your business needs to be customer centric and not work in silos. There's been so many businesses that I've helped or even worked in where every department focuses on their own little part of the business and they don't care about anything else. And the business ends up becoming a very dysfunctional business because none of the parts of the business work together and don't care about anything else. So if you become a customer-centric business, you won't get any silos because everybody's going to be focused on the one thing, and that's your customer. The next part of it is that your business has to be a great marketer, and you need to understand the difference between strategic marketing and tactical marketing. Fifth one is that your process and systems are clearly documented. The number of times that I've seen in businesses where nothing has been documented and the owners or the managers spend so much time telling people how things need to be done that they're wasting so much time and energy just simply going over systems and processes. The sixth one is that the business knows the real costs. And this is not just about the cost of construction. It's knowing where your profit leaks are and how to get to those. And then finally, the business is a gun scheduler. And that's not just about using software. It's about understanding that a building business is actually a process manager, not just a project manager, but a process manager. There are hundreds and hundreds of processes that are involved in running a building business. And so you need to be really good at actually doing that process management. So let's have a look at each of these in a little bit more detail. So by business principles and planning, I'm talking about these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 items. So your purpose and your vision. This is why you're in business and the direction that you're going. So as it says there in the little panel at the side, your purpose is why you get out of bed and do what you do. Building and construction is a really tough business. And certainly in the last couple of years, we found that, it's been a once in a lifetime environment that we've had to operate in, and it's been incredibly tough. And, I've known supervisors who have been extremely good project managers have just been defeated because they just can't get the job going the way they'd like it to get going. So if you don't have your why sorted out as a business owner and understand why you're in business, because that's what will get you out of bed each day. And you need to have that. Otherwise, your mental health is going to suffer. So you need to look at your purpose and your vision and understand why you're in business and what the direction that you're going. Your leadership and your culture, this is how you involve your team and how your culture contributes to the process. So if your purpose or your why is what gets you out of bed each day, the culture in your business is what gets your team and your staff out of bed each day to come to work. So think about the difference between those two. If you've got a good culture in your business, well, then everybody wants to come to work because they enjoy it. If it's a bad culture, well, they're probably going to leave. In terms of understanding your why, there's a guy by the name of Simon Sinek, S-I-N-E-K. He developed a concept called the golden circle. So if you Google Simon Sinek and his golden circle, he explains it very well in terms of why you're in business, what you do, and how you do it. A lot of businesses start the other way around. They start with their how, and they never end up getting to their why. So have a look at Simon Sinek and the golden circle concept. Your social responsibility, well, this is how your business interacts with the community. You want to be known as a good business with the community and have good social responsibility. Your sustainability principles, well, this is how your business contributes to a better world and the environment. So it could be how you build your buildings. Are they environmentally sustainable? It could be how you go about your business in terms of, you know, the paperless office and so on. So have a think about your sustainability principles. The next part of it is the business planning. These are your goals and your targets for the business. So you need to understand what your goals and targets are. But if you, in terms of doing your business planning, you will have needed to go back and have a look at your purpose and your vision first to work out, you know, what your goals are going to be for your business. The pursuit of excellence is really about continuous improvement. You know, companies that have got quality management systems implemented in place, the pursuit of excellence is just ingrained into that quality management system. I wouldn't expect that every business would want to get a quality management system implemented, but if you develop a pursuit of excellence in your business, it means you're going to continually get better and better, which means it's going to make you a better business down the track. So it's how do you learn from your mistakes? Unfortunately, in construction, we tend to learn from our mistakes a lot. So it's having, I guess, a process, a culture in place that helps you learn from those mistakes so that you don't keep making them. And then you've got your growth strategies. So you need to set your business for sustainable growth. So the first four, your purpose, your vision, your leadership, social responsibility, and sustainability, that provides the credibility for your customers. That helps them understand whether they want to do business with you or not. And the last three are how you control and monitor your business. So your business planning, your pursuit of excellence, and your growth strategies, that's how you monitor your business and how you grow the business and set your goals. So your business principles and planning, while they tend to be high level things to look at in your business, you do need to start working on them. And it could simply be, you know, putting it down on a piece of paper, because it will take time to evolve these aspects of your business, and you won't be able to do them all at once. You need to sort of look at these and work out which is important for you, and how you can actually. These principles are the things that your customers are going to get attracted to you and why they'll do business from you. I guess, which leads me into your market dominating position. You could also think of that as your unique selling proposition, to your USPs. And so most businesses are established in response to a market demand. Yep, people want to buy houses. I think I'll be a builder and I'll build houses. But if you have a look at most builders' websites, they offer the same information. Yep, we build quality homes, we build them on time, we build them to budget, we're professional. And it's surprising when you look at a lot of builders' websites, how they all use the same sort of terminology and the same phrases, I guess. So how can you differentiate your business from others in the market? So you want your customers to think that they would be crazy to purchase from anybody else. So have a think about what makes you different and better from everybody else. And as you go through the rest of these principles or these aspects of your business, you'll start to see that there are things that you are good at that will make you better than your competition. It could be your customer service. It could be a construction method, or it could be a way in which you solve the customer's problems. And so that then starts to, I guess, go across into the marketing side of it. But it's very hard to market your business if you actually don't understand, why you're different and why you're better than everybody else. So you need to determine your strategic position. Where do you want to be? And then you need to determine your primary dominating position. There's always a secondary, but determine your primary dominating position, and that will then help you determine your business model. So every company has a business model, and that will determine, what markets you want to focus on, your distribution channels, the relationship you have with those, and then how you're going to create those revenues. And from that side, you can then start to understand the costs that are involved, the resources you need, the partners you need, and the people that you need in order to deliver on that strategic goal that you want to create. But unless you understand why you're different and how you can differentiate yourselves from others in the market, it's going to be very hard for you to convince clients as to why they should come and buy from you. So don't try to be everything to everyone. You see some builders and companies out there try and be everything. And so from that perspective, it just complicates your business so much further. If you're trying to do houses and renovations and townhouses, the processes that you'll need to put in place in that business have just not even tripled. They're probably 30 times the amount, because it's different building a townhouse project to what it is building a single detached house. So don't try and be everything to everyone. The next part of it is your customer journey, your customer journey mapping. The customer touch points, and these are the parts of the customer journey that you go on with your client. And it's the different, I guess, parts that they are at. So it's looking at it from a customer perspective. So the first part of it is the awareness. Then you go through the research, the consideration, the commitment, and then in a construction perspective, the next part of it is construction, then you got handover, and then the loyalty and advocacy. So on the bottom half of that screen, you'll see, I guess, an idea of how a customer journey map might be put out or developed. And so you've got all your different touch points in terms of social media and websites and advertising, email, phones, the written documents, face-to-face meetings, seminars, and so on. Then you've got all the activities. So in the awareness phase, that's when your customers are, from a building perspective, that's when customers are working out, well, I want to build a house. Who are some house builders that I want to look at? So they start to get that awareness of which builders they're looking at. And so once they find, I guess, a couple of builders that they consider fit with what they want to do, that they can see that their vision and their strategic direction, their leadership, all those sorts of things that we talked about before, that the customer feels comfortable with those. Then they start to do some research. They start to look a bit deeper into the business to work out whether or not that builder is right for them. And that's where your market dominating position comes into play in terms of why they should go with you. Then the consideration, that's getting a quote. So they're asking you to, they're starting to consider you, so they might pay a deposit, get you to provide a quote to them. The next step is the commitment. So from a construction perspective, that's signing the contract. They've made that commitment. Then the delivery is the construction side of it. And each step of the process through here, you can see that there is different information and different education that you need to provide for your customers. A customer who's in the awareness phase, you're not wanting to provide the same information to them that you do to your customers who are in your construction phase. It's completely different. But if you understand your customer journey map and your customer journey, it helps you to understand what information you need to provide for your customers and your clients at the different stage in their journey. And it makes it easier for you to work out the context of that information and how best to provide that information. So in a construction sense, you've got the handover, and then you've got the loyalty and advocacy. And you want your customers to come back again and repeat that customer journey. But next time, if they're loyal and they're out there advocating for you, they're going to come in at that consideration phase. They're not going to go back and research you and go through all the awareness phase. They're going to come back in earlier, or sorry, later in the customer journey. So it's all about understanding the information, the journey that your customer goes on. And when you go through this, you'll actually be able to see how you can enhance the experience for your customers. How can you make it better for them? And it helps you understand it from the customer's perspective, from their eyes, what do you actually see. Going through this process does generate a lot of work, because you then start to understand all the information that you need to provide. But it's a very, very useful step to go through, because this is the one part of your business that helps you become a customer-centric business. Having gone through your customer journey and your market dominating position and established your business principles, you can actually start to do some marketing now. It's very hard to market your business if you haven't dealt with those three aspects previously, because from a marketing perspective, you've got no idea what you're actually going to tell your clients. So there is a difference between strategic marketing and tactical marketing. Strategic marketing works with the customer journey and the market research. So it focuses on solving your customers' problems and how your business does that. And so you can see how that starts to tie back into your market dominating position. What can you do better than all the other builders in actually solving your customers' problems? Your tactical marketing is your advertising and your other methods. So it's how you deliver that message. You know, is it the website? Is it TV advertising? Is it flyers in the letterbox and so on? So understanding the difference between strategic marketing and tactical marketing will help you focus better on how you can market your business. And the very best businesses are also the very good marketers. So if you have a look at companies like Disney and Coca-Cola, you'll know how much time and money they spend on marketing their business. But they also understand what their business is about and what they're actually delivering. We start to get into some of the, I guess, the nitty-gritty part of the business now in terms of the systems and processes, and they need to be documented. There's a quote there from Mark Burris, the mentor. Some of you might have heard of him in Australia. He started up Yellow Brick Road and some other companies. And he says that the successful businesses are systemised, manualised, documented, thorough, and thought through. Basically, if you are the business, if you're the only person in the business and you don't have your systems documented, well, then you're the business. There's no way that you can sell your business. So you've got to have your systems and processes. I think Mark Burris also said if your systems and processes are not documented, there is no way that he would buy your business, because what's he buying? He's actually buying nothing. It also makes it easier for you to train your new staff. As I was saying before, you know, a lot of people, a lot of business owners that I see when I'm consulting to them, they spend all this time telling their staff what they need to be doing, but they actually spend so much time doing that that they've got no more time left for anything else and wonder why they're actually working long hours. So there's two parts to, I guess, documenting your systems and processes. The first is what is process mapping or flow charts. And I'd recommend that you do this first. So start out by simply taking some Post-it notes, and you could put them on a glass sliding door. And each Post-it note becomes each step of the process, and break your business down into, you know, manageable chunks, into some small processes, and start documenting it that way. Take a photograph of it, or just draw it out on an A4 or A3 piece of paper. At least get something down on paper. And what you'll find is that in doing this process mapping, it will help you to understand your business better. It will help you identify where you've got duplication in your business, and it will help understand, you know, where you've actually got gaps in the business and where you actually need to sort out or strengthen a process. So have a look at doing the process mapping. There is some software on the market that you can use to help you do that, to present it really well. But essentially, start mapping your business. A picture is worth 1,000 words. If you take a process map and you try and explain that in words, it would take you probably 10 pages to do it. And over the years, the companies that have got these big, thick operations manuals, they end up getting put in the bottom drawer and nobody reads them because there's so much information in there. It's so hard to read. So at least process map your business, get the flowcharts out there, and then you can have a look at your operations manuals from there, and they just fill in the gaps between the process maps, or just explain what some of those tasks are. And you'll find that it's much easier to document your business. And once your business is documented, it's easier to train staff. It's easier for your business to grow because you're not spending all this time telling people and telling new staff how to run the business. They've got something to refer back to. And the other quote there by Michael Gerber, organise around your business functions, not people. So build your systems within each business function. Let the systems run the business, and then the people will run the systems, because people will come and go, but the systems remain constant. And back in my A.V. Jennings days, way back in the 70s and 80s, they had their business documented to within an nth degree, and it was so tight that if any new person came into the company and they tried to do something different, the system would kick them back online, because the processes were so strong, they were so rigid, so structured, because they had actually documented the whole business. And that's why they were such a successful house builder back in those times. As they moved on, unfortunately, the new companies that bought them out, they didn't have all the systems and processes documented, or they decided to change them all, and it started to fall apart. So have a think about process mapping, and how you can paint that picture to your staff, because this is a really good way to just see how your business actually operates and work out where you can actually improve it. The next side of it is knowing your real costs. It's not just about having an estimating system. You need to have an estimating system in place so that you do know what your costs are. But there are a number of other areas where you'll end up with profit leakages, inadequacies in documentation. This is an area that I'm seeing lately is getting worse and worse. The standard of documentation is getting poor. Nobody is coordinating the information between the engineer, the drafting side of things, colour selection, variations, and so on. None of it's getting coordinated. And this applies to the biggest house builder in Australia. They're just not spending the time to coordinate their documentation. And what that's doing is it's causing them huge additional costs on site and rework. The amount of money that it costs to actually fix something up on site, if you haven't got it right on paper, can end up costing you 100 times more than what it would cost you to fix it up on paper. I remember one of my old bosses back in A.V. Jennings days said to me, if you can't build it on paper, how can you expect the supervisor to build it on site? So have a look at have a look at your documentation and make sure that it's coordinated before it goes out on site, because it will end up costing you a lot of money. And that's all that's going to do is come off your bottom line. Increase customization. The more changes, the more things that you offer to a customer means that you've got more chances of actually getting things wrong, and it increases the processes. So have a think about your business, have a think about, I guess, your product and how much customization you offer in that, because every little extra piece of customization will create extra work for the business. Can everybody still hear me?
Yep, you're going fine.
The other side of it is insufficient training. If you don't train your staff, well, then they're either going to go off on the tangent and start doing it their way, which could lead to extra costs, or the staff simply don't know what to do. So that takes me back to that process mapping and documenting your systems and processes, is that's going to save you money in the long term, because staff will know exactly what they need to do. The other part of it that I see is incomplete or no scopes of works. Just sending out an order to a subcontractor with no, I guess, instruction or information on what you expect of them means that they will just decide to do it the way that they want to do it, and it may not be to your standard. So set your expectations, set the scope of work, and understand what you want from your subcontractors. And you can do that through your scopes of works. Do you also have a system for recording your extra costs? I know a number of estimating packages have the ability to record those extra costs and understand the areas where you're actually spending the extra money. And that goes all the way back to one of those principles of the pursuit of excellence. So if you're recording your extra costs, you understand what they are and where they're coming from, it gives you the opportunity to go in and have a look and work out why you're spending that extra money, and whether there's ways of actually fixing it up and improving on them. So reduce your complexities in your business. Every extra complexity adds a potential for profit leakage. So just have a look at all these other areas in your business where you can get profit leakage. So that's all about understanding what your real costs are. I know many builders, they will take the raw costs of the house, put a margin on it, but don't actually make any allowance for contingency or price increases. And certainly the last 2 years has highlighted that. But if you don't do that, all of those increases or those profit leakages just come off the bottom line. And what you thought was going to be your actual margin gets reduced quite significantly along the way. So just understand where all those extra profit leakages can actually come from. And finally, being a gun scheduler. So it's not just about being able to use scheduling software. I was saying earlier on that a building company is essentially a process management business. There are hundreds and hundreds of processes that are involved in a building company, all the way from the first time when you get a lead or a prospect for your business, right out to the very end when you're dealing with the warranty and maintenance side of it. There are hundreds of processes in that journey, and so you need to be able to manage that process. Certainly, software will help you do that, but you need to get your processes right so that your software is actually working for you. There's a guy who did a thesis for his PhD at RMIT on workflow planning, and he was able to determine mathematically, and this is from a housing perspective, that it's the slowest trade that determines the frequency of jobs to site. And one of the things that I see with a lot of companies when I go in to do some work with them is that they make a lot of sales, they get the front end of the business, yep, we've made a lot of sales, they then try and push it out to site as fast as they can. And what that does is that it actually destroys the construction team, because all of a sudden they've got a whole heap of jobs on site. But if they don't have the resources to build them, well, then the jobs sit there and they actually start to slow everything down. And I guess as an example, if your carpenter takes 1 week to build a frame and you've only got one carpenter in your business, or one carpentry gang in your business, you can only put one job a week to site, because your carpentry gang can only handle one frame. If you want to send 2 jobs to site a week, you need to get 2 carpenter gangs, and so on. If that carpenter is also doing the eaves and the fix out, or when it comes to that point in the process, if you still keep pushing work out to site, but he's now off doing a fix out or an eaves and cladding, he can't do the frame. So you need to understand your resources and the cycles at which you need to send work to site, because just shoving everything out to site in one go or as fast as you can actually slows the whole process down. And as I say there, that's the area where mental health can be affected. So you need to have a think about your business and how you run that, how you schedule or manage your projects. Develop your project plan, develop your construction plan, but have a look at your resources. If anybody wants that thesis on the workflow planning, happy to provide that to them if they're looking for it. But it's an area that I find most housing companies, most residential companies, they don't understand that process, and they don't understand that theory. So they think that by selling as many as they can and pushing them out to site as quickly as they can, they're actually doing better for the business because they think that they've got all this work out on site. It actually slows everything down. So have a think about your process and have a think about how you schedule and manage your work. So being a gun scheduler is one of those 7 aspects that you need to think about, and you need to master them as well. So they're the 7 aspects. I've only gone into them, very quickly. There's a lot of work and a lot of things to be discussed and talked about in those areas. I guess my business is Alpha Edge. As it says there, I build the business behind the builder. So I guess I'm there to be able to help builders understand how to get the best out of their business, how they can succeed. And there's a whole range of workshops and things that I can do for a business to help them understand that. So I guess if there's any questions that anybody wants to ask, I'm sure Lauren would be able to take them online. If you are looking at a recording of this later on, and happy for Lauren to get in contact with me and have a talk to you about it. Thank you.
Are there any questions?
Any questions from those that are online?
All right, cool. We might call then there, Bruce. Or Shane, sorry, have you got a question?
I just put the mic on to say thanks to Bruce for the presentation.
Yeah, it was a really good presentation.
That was really good, Bruce. Enjoyed that, mate. Might have a few customers for you if they're not already broke.
Yeah, look, I guess, as I was saying earlier on, I mean, most companies aren't going to have all of these in place, at the start. It's an evolution, and that's something that I guess I work on with builders, is to have a look at, where they're at in their business and the things that are important. It's a bit like putting a jigsaw puzzle together. You got to work out, which are the important parts and which are the bits you got to put in place first to help them grow, because there's no point in looking at all of the business principles up front and spending a heap of time on that side of it if their processes are not developed, or they have no idea what their market dominating position is, so they can't actually get any work in the door. So it is a juggling act, but every business goes through these in one way or another. It's just how good they are at it. So the really good businesses, they're very good at all of this. They've got all of these in place. But the poor businesses really have nothing at all in place, and they just lurch from one disaster to the next.
I actually had a bit of experience. I ordered a microwave from Samsung recently, Bruce, and their processes are absolutely appalling. Some of the worst thing I've ever come across. And the order got cancelled in January, and we're now in April. I still haven't got my money back from them, and they just get excuse after excuse. But I can see behind it, it's their business processes are so bad, it just takes forever to get anything done. And all that happened from it is it results in a really horrendous experience for the customer.
Yeah, and Andrew, I mean, all of these aspects, can apply to any business, not just a housing business. I mean, this is focused on residential and building, but every business needs to work on these, their principles, their market dominating position, their customer journey, their systems and processes, whether they're a good marketer. Even people like Samsung or other companies, they need to, they're a scheduler, they're process managers, because they're managing that process of, getting the product that they've got out to their customer and how they deal with it in the sort of warranty and service side of it. So all of these aspects are really dealt with by every business out there anyway. It's just a matter of, I guess, the degree that you're actually dealing with it. If you take a coffee van on the side of the road, they're dealing with all these parts of it. It's just the degree to for which they might be dealing with it.
Yeah, I thought there's some very interesting things there. You know, you get these builders, and we know a lot of them that do all this custom stuff and just get themselves into all sorts of trouble, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are like, you know, and doing some big numbers, and they're like 50, 60% custom now. You know, and a lot of them, I mean, I met one guy who was doing 300 homes a year, and they never costed a quote before they accepted it.
Yeah.
They just did it. They just did it on selling price.
Yeah.
And then if they won the quote, they went back and did the estimate, and took them a month.
Yeah.
Whereas someone like Montgomery's, they guarantee that they'll have a fully costed estimate within 7 days of an inquiry. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that's a matter of, I guess, working out, you know, what they're good at and what their market dominating position can be, so that, you know, like Montgomery, they can then go back to their, you know, go to their customers or their market and guarantee them certain things. They can offer them certain things that other builders can't. So that, you know, they need to work out what they're good at. But unfortunately, a lot of builders in the industry are quite naive, and they don't know what they don't know. So it's, you know, a lot of them do, particularly from a sales perspective, fall into the trap of offering more and more customization, because they think that by offering more changes to the client, they're going to make more sales. You can do that, but you've got to make sure that you've got the business behind it that can actually deal with it. So there's no point in having a Ferrari if you haven't got a Ferrari engine in it. All right, well, if there's no more questions, Ness, we might wrap it up. It's a little bit earlier, but that's fine, about 15 minutes early.
Cool. Thanks again, Bruce. That was an awesome presentation.
All right, thanks everybody for being part of the presentation today. I hope there's something in there that I guess resonates, or you can see the opportunity for you know, customers that you've got. You know, some of the things that I do in terms of the workshops that I've got apply to any business. Things like strategic focus and business modeling and customer journey mapping, all those sorts of things. You can do them for any business. But yeah, you can find out a bit more of those on the website there, that's down at the bottom. Happy to help any of your businesses out if they need some help in terms of their business in addition to the software. And, you know, sometimes some of the processes that they've got, you know, end up causing them problems with the software, because they're trying to do things that they probably shouldn't be doing, and making it too complicated.
All right, cool. Thanks for joining, guys. Thanks for that presentation.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Ness. Thanks for your help.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Thanks, Bruce.
See ya.
Yeah.